And we are live, everyone. Okay, let me sit down here. Hello, City of Pembroke. Max Gower here with co-host Candace Lacroix Johnston, and we're blessed to have Brian Abdallah here. Brian is running for local elections as a city councillor, and he's looking for your vote. And we're here today to get to know all about you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Nice to meet you.
And I want to thank your the time you're taking and the effort to promote the community in Pembroke, both of you and your team. And I think it's great that we have social media to bring everybody out, and they can replay it again, you know, and it's because it takes a lot of effort to do this. And I want to thank people who are contributing to the news group and their questions. And I want to acknowledge all the people that are running. I think that it's great that we have 20 candidates because it shows they care about the community. And I want to do two things before we start. I want to thank my campaign team, mainly my wife Mary, who's working incredibly hard, and I really appreciate that. You know, the love of my life.
Good.
And I want to congratulate Dave McGee of Red Taxi just opened up. Another taxi service.
New business.
New business in Pembroke. Yeah, Dave McGee. You'll find it on Facebook. And Dave and I grew up in the same neighborhood together, and we spent an hour and a half in July talking in his driveway about his dream, and it came true, you know. So this is how Pembroke should go, by small business, you know. It'd be great if we could get a big factory or high tech, but which is fine, you know. But the small business is the driver of the Canadian economy, so that's good too. So anyway, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Thanks for the shout out to local business.
Yeah, for sure.
And keeping this newsy, because we do want to keep updated on what new businesses are opening up, so we can support.
That's right. And there were two businesses downtown that just had a year anniversary.
Oh, the Giggling Goats had their year anniversary recently. Was that one of them?
Yeah, and the other bathing suit and lingerie shop in the Muse.
Oh, Anna's Lingerie.
Yes, that's right.
Shop.
So congratulations to those two businesses too.
Cool.
Yes.
Great
That's
shout
great.
out, Brian.
Yeah, it's great. That's what makes Pembroke great, you know.
Oh,
So it's all about community, right? It's all about community. That's what it is.
Oh, and you definitely have some deep roots in this community.
Yes, I do. Very deep roots.
Now, from what I know, your father George was mayor back in the 70s.
Yeah, he was councillor and mayor of Pembroke in 73 and 74.
Wow.
And then he was on the Hydro Commission for many years, and he was one of the ones that was instrumental when they joined with Mississippi Mills and Killaloo to form the Ottawa River Power Corporation. So we're very fortunate that we have the hydro here too. You know, I was at a council meeting last night, and they bring in close to $500,000 in dividends a year for Pembroke, so it's very good. But we can talk about it later on.
Sure.
But my deep roots are in Pembroke. I've lived here most of my life. I've been away, as you know. I'll talk about that in a minute. Born and raised in Pembroke, local high school. My father had a furniture and appliance store downtown where Carrie and Jana's place is.
Yes.
Nice.
So very, very sentimental every time I go in there. And my grandfather started that. My grandfather was a Lebanese immigrant to Canada in the early 1900s with his brother, and he was a peddler. And he sold whenever he could to survive, and he raised 6 kids in Carleton Place, Ontario. He had a dry goods store, and his name was Hassan Abdallah, and he married an English woman, and her name was Stanley. So I'm actually related to the man, the Governor General, who donated the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
go Leafs, go, right?
That's awesome.
So, anyways, long story short, he came to Pembroke in the early 40s, and he sold Beatty Ringer washers door to door. Now, some of our viewers might remember Beatty Ringer Washer Company from Fergus, Ontario. And so my dad and him would go out with their truck, and they'd go when hydro was just coming into places like Swisha, and they would sell the Ringer washers door to door. Some of them were gas powered. Can you imagine that? Eh?
Really?
They ran on gasoline, big honking things, right? So they come back. Sometimes they come back with none, or sometimes they come back with a load, and that's how he started. And then he rented the building downtown where Janet and Carrie's is. Then he bought the building, and my dad joined him after high school and worked there all his life, my father, and very involved in the community. And I worked there after I graduated from Bishop's University in '85 with a business administration degree. That's in Lennoxville, Quebec, Eastern Townships. went to Ottawa for 3 years, worked for the Brick for a year. Then my dad phoned me and offered me to come back to Pembroke, right? So one of the happiest days of my life, to come back to Pembroke. That was 1988, and I worked there until 96, and he decided to retire, and I had a craving for the IT industry. So I went my own way to explore my own path, and I went back to school and I became a network specialist and got a job in atomic energy.
Oh, cool.
And I worked 3 years in PC support in building 508, and then I worked 3 years as a Unix system administrator, data center administrator, working on all the large servers, troubleshooting, software, project management, budgeting, and did that for 3 more years, and then married my wife, Mary Mercer, and then I was coaching soccer with my son. I have a son who lives in Toronto, and I really enjoyed coaching, and I did it for 6 years as he was growing up. So, I wanted to become a teacher, to help kids and youth and all that. And part of it was from being in the Kinsman Club all those years and helping the youth, all the projects we worked on. So, went back to school for a year and a half and got my master's in teaching in Potsdam, New York, and became a teacher, and the rest is, teaching for all these years. And then
which grade?
all grades.
Wow.
All grades.
Taught right over here at the Bishop Smith Alternate School.
Yes.
My good friend Denzel Smith. We taught there. I ran a special course, a workplace course, designed my own course for kids to get jobs, did a co-op program with different stores. So then, I was involved in the Kinsman Club for 25 years, and 2005, I was down at Potsdam, New York, at State University of New York at Potsdam. Blue Rodeo showed up, and one of my favorite bands, So Mary says to me, "Well, you should bring them to Pembroke for a concert," So we were able to find the money to get them to come, and we had a fundraising concert at the PMC 2005. So that's when I started Green Tomato Productions, because I thought, well, this is fun. I could have a little business promoting concerts, right? So I did a lot of them with Kinsman, but then I branched out on my own. And whenever they're at the Memorial Center, Kinsman would get the bar, and the city would get the other half. So they'd raise like $1,000, $1,200, and I would provide the band and the venue, right? And then we did many shows at Festival Hall. My wife and I did that for about 8 years till we went overseas in 2013. So we had many bands like Blue Rodeo, Sam Roberts, Gord Downey and the Country of Miracles, Terry Clark, Ron Sexsmith, Sam Roberts.
Jan
band.
Arden.
Jan Arden,
I remember her. I went there.
Jan Arden, Natalie McMaster and Leahy. Gord Downey, it was one of the best shows. And the last show we did when I left was March 2013, Randy Bachman, that Final Tap show. And, to bring these people to Pembroke was an honor, and
puts it on the map.
It just shows that we can do, I know myself, we did over 40 shows in the 8 years, and did some in Renfrew at the Wing. We brought in Gene Watson, some of you may know him, he's a country legend, and we sold out the Wing in Renfrew. And later on we'll talk about the platform, and we'll talk about this Pembroke Fair idea I have, make Pembroke a destination point. And so that's where I get these ideas, right? So I know that Pembroke when I think of Pembroke, I think of, Laurentian Valley, the whole community, right? Because what's good for Laurentian Valley is good for Pembroke, and what's good for Pembroke is good for them. Same as Petawawa, right? So we work together, we make Pembroke a destination point. So what I'm trying to say is, I know from running these concerts that, people will come to an event, and we have great volunteers. And I know from being in Kinsman Club for 25 years that we have fantastic volunteers. It's a great community. And so that leads up to Mary and I went away for 5 years. We were home in the summer and winter time because our mothers are here. And I got a job working for the Canadian military at AF North, we call it AF North, in southern Netherlands in Brunsum in 2013. where I taught grade 4. So it's a school owned by Germany, Canada, Britain, and United States. So it's right at the German border. There's 5 minutes away. There's an AWACS base in Germany, and there's a tier 2 level NATO base there. So all the kids go to the school, right? And they issue the Ontario diploma in grade 12, and I taught grade 4 to American kids from all over the world, and Canadian kids too, for 2 years, and we traveled Europe, and it was a great opportunity. And then we went to China for 2 years in Shenzhen, across from Hong Kong, where I taught business and technology, and I designed STEM makerspace labs. And do you know what a makerspace is?
No.
You've heard of it? Like, you know, STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. So a makerspace is a special room. It's more of a mindset where you can have arts and crafts. Like, kids and adults make things, right? It goes back to the old industrial arts era, back in the 70s, you know?
Okay.
You learn by doing, and so you make things, and you can have 3D printers and robotics and electronics. So this is what I designed in China, and I ran the program for 2 years. And then I went to Bermuda for a year, and I was a STEM innovation teacher last year in Bermuda at a private school, grade 3, 4, 5. I designed a lab there. But the main thing is China is where I met my friends at Snapmaker Technologies.
Oh,
and
Snapmaker.
Yeah, Snapmaker.
I know that.
Yeah, so they came out with a printer, snapmaker.com, and I saw it in this makerspace where I was getting some educational supplies and working with a consultant. So I started helping them, volunteering with them, because it's a printer that does laser engraving, 3D carving, and also so laser engraving, 3D printing, it's easy carving, right? So I helped them. I just became their advisor and helped them, and they raised 2.2 million Kickstarter.
Wow.
Okay, they had 5,000 backers. So I'm a market developer for them. It's a part-time job, and most of the work was done in Shenzhen, setting everything up, right? So we go to trade shows, and my wife and I, we talk to customers from all over the world, and went to CES Las Vegas last year, went to Chicago, to the largest educational technology show, and we sign up developers from North America and Europe, and we work with them, right? So I'm proud of that fact that I was able. So I want an educator and business person too. We met Snapmaker there, and now we're back in Pembroke. We came back last Christmas and purchased our home in the East End, and we were home at Easter for 2 weeks again, and we moved in. And we could have bought a home in the Richmond Valley very easily. Yeah. But we didn't, because we wanted to live in Pembroke, and I wanted to run for city council and be involved in the community, So close to the mall, close to the hospital, so it's a great place to live, and so that's basically my history. And been involved in Kinsman Club for over 25 years, which disbanded a few years ago. Now they have a kin club, so they have a men and women's club, a kin club.
Oh.
And so then I was involved with the community policing in the 90s. I was co-chair. We had a community policing organization, and then I was on the board of directors when we started the Kinsman Court, nonprofit housing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So something like that, right? So been involved in the community, and with Kinsman, I chaired many events and Empty Stocking Fund for 10 years in the 90s. So that was a telethon we had on radio and at the Armies, and then Kinsman Kids Fishing Derby and the rink, the Kinsman Rink every year. We still have a committee that raises funds for the rink. We have
I love that
fundraiser.
rink.
Yeah, so beautiful rink, So I'm going to be volunteering at the library, helping them with their makerspace program and wanting to promote that. And so, we're here now, running for council, working very hard to get elected.
Yes.
Having a fun time.
Good.
Meeting people like you. And
I've seen you all over the place. I have.
Yeah.
I will say that you have been tracting. You've been
definitely.
getting yourself out there.
Oh, for sure.
You're very involved. It's
Well, I think when you're, and I've been going to all the council meetings. I've been to 4 meetings since I came back in July. Because I think when you're applying for, this is a job, right?
Well, exactly.
This is a job. So when you're applying for a job, this is a board of directors.
Yeah.
And we have the mayor as the CEO, the chief CAO, and then we have Terry Lapierre running the city. So when you're applying for a job, you want to put your message out there, you put all your effort in. So, I got the truck, all decaled the truck.
I saw that.
Saw the truck, and we had the nice brochure, lots of signs, but going door to door, and I'm spending all my own money. I'm not taking donations from anyone.
Wow.
I saved up for the campaign.
Good for you. It really shows your commitment.
Because I knew a year ago I was going to run,
Yeah.
and
what brought you to the idea to run? Like, did it just occur to you that you're like, I think I'd make a really good councillor, or what? Like, it's obviously politics is in your roots here in the community.
yeah.
But why only a year ago?
Well,
He's been busy. He's been
actually,
all over the place.
actually knew before that, right?
That's true.
But
That's true.
the plan was always to come back to Pembroke. That was always the plan. And, 4 years ago I was following the election from the Netherlands, right? So I said, when I'm back in Pembroke, I'll run, But
Yes.
what I meant was I put the plan together. Like, I contacted the federal and provincial government last year about obtaining pool grants. And I contacted them about obtaining green grants for transit. I did that last fall. And I found out what's available for the community. And that's why I put in here transportation. Let's search it out. I know we applied for a grant before. We can do it again and try again. And so planning ahead. And people say, why are you running for council? Because it's not an easy job. And I commend the people that are on council now, and I commend the people that were on before, and I remember when my dad was mayor, I know what it's like, many times I hardly, on the weekends I didn't see him, people phoning the house, but he knew that, right? So that's what it's all about. So the thing is, you're running for this position, and people say, well, why are you running? Well, basically, simple answer is, care deeply about the community, and I want to help the community. I've helped out, volunteerism for 25 years, so now I think I know I can help out the community on city council, because I have the integrity and the knowledge and the skills in business and education and technology, innovative thinking, and community work, and I have what it takes to work for the common good with like-minded councillors, for creating and building a community for everyone for Pembroke. So that's basically why I'm running. I've always, it's been instilled in me, my mom and dad, to build the community up and give back, because I've traveled the world with my wife the last 5 years. We were in China, Vietnam, and I remember driving back from the airport in Shanghai a couple of years ago. We went there for 5 days, and we flew in at night, right, to the domestic airport, but we flew out of the international airport. It took over an hour to get to the airport, because we were living in Shenzhen, right, which is south of Shanghai. And you don't realize how big a city is in China until you've been in the taxi for over an hour, and all you see is concrete. That's all you see. And I don't know how these people live, right, in high rises, but they're born into that, right? So that's their home. Like, this is our home, My home's the Ottawa Valley, our home's the Ottawa Valley, and so home is where the heart is, right? So what I'm saying is, when I drive to work every day, I teach in Beachburg Public School, and I see the rolling hills, the Laurentians, and the beautiful Ottawa Valley.
Oh, definitely.
And this weekend, Mary and I are going to drive up to the park and see all the nice leaves, and sometimes we take a lot for granted, how beautiful of a community we have here, and how beautiful of a country we have, and we know, being away 5 years and traveling most of the world, I know that we have the best country in the world. Scandinavian countries are great, but we got more space.
Oh, definitely.
Like, we can go to Ottawa in an hour and 15 minutes. We can go to Toronto, take the train, or drive down. We got Algonquin Park, so got the Ottawa River. So special place here. And it's only getting better.
Yes, we definitely have to count our blessings, because we live in a beautiful spot.
That's right.
Well, it's great to hear about your local roots, and it sounds like growing up in the environment with your father. You understand the sacrifice, the family sacrifice that it will take, and you also seem to have a really strong support system with your wife and your children.
Oh yeah, well, my wife is, she's my cornerstone. And, she's done, she supported me when I went back to school for a year and a half, and beautiful lady, you know. So
Aw,
you know,
he's so sweet.
no, she's just exceptional. Anyways,
That's so
okay.
sweet. Oh,
So,
my
let's
God.
talk
but
We've talked about your foundation
Yeah.
and your strong support system. Let's get into your platform more.
yeah,
And,
so the flyer here.
I love the flyer, and we'll definitely. I'll hold it up for a second.
Beautiful
Yeah.
quality.
Anything goes on here, and
So this flyer was designed by Mary and I, and this ad has been in the Advertiser News, and it's in the Eagle Leader, today's issue, and this is the platform, and the platform is going to be also in the newspaper next week after the candidates debate. So the platform has been, so the vision is building a community for everyone. And people ask me, you know, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that we run a municipal government that provides quality and affordable services, programs, and infrastructure for everyone. Okay, so youth, family, and seniors. So we're not a retirement town. We're not a tourist town. We're all of that. We're a city. We're a city. We're a community for everyone, and we need to remember that. You know, we have 1/3 of the population are of senior age. We have a middle age group. We have youth and family. So we need to work together to provide programming for that, and we can talk about that in the platform, Max. If you want to ask me. You just want me to go over it?
Yeah. I mean, so
So
we could start with there's some of them we could go into more than others.
that's right. We can do the highlights. So
let's start at the top.
So the program, the platform was designed. I put on Facebook in the news groups. I said, you know, platform is it's a conversation piece.
It is.
It's a discussion. You know, if I get elected, I'm only going to have one vote, right? So I'm going to work for the common good, work for the people, to try and get the vision done, and I'm sure people that will get elected will agree with me on some of this stuff. And you know, some people might not agree with all the platform, and I realize that, you know, and that's okay. And some of this stuff might not get done, but hopefully it will. But you're not just electing. You're not electing the platform. You're electing the person.
Exactly.
You're electing the person based on the person's integrity, their honesty, their character, their commitment, their knowledge, and their experience, and their skill set. So, and I believe I have those skills.
And that's exactly the reason for these interviews.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
That you can show everybody.
Yeah, to get the message across. So to sit at the table and make responsible decisions, you know, with the $29 million budget of the city, you know, to balance, it's a balancing act, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I see. When I talk to you, because we've spoken a few times.
Yeah, we talked about the grind one time there.
And I see someone who's really studious and someone who researches and finds out the facts. And so when I look at your platform, yes, it's a conversation, but I can see the 5 main points that you're focusing on, and then what your promise is that you're going to do your damn well best to do your best to make all these things happen.
That's
but
right.
That's all you can do.
Well, I'll give you a couple of examples. So, you know, we go door to door, we talk to people. You know, I go to McDonald's, get a coffee, go to Carrie and Jana's place. I go downtown to Thai Gardens. Beautiful food.
Good shout out so far.
Great. Thai Gardens. Best mango salad in the world down there at Nita's place. And, you know, so taxes. You ask people, what are your concerns? Well, the taxes are high. Yes. Property taxes. And I know we realize the taxes are high. Our taxes are high, you know. So Pembroke is landlocked, and we have so much. We only so much land, but we're developing. So I'm saying, hold the line on taxes. Give businesses and homeowners a break for a couple of years, maybe more. Focus on the economic development. Grow the tax base, and let's manage responsibly the $29.4 million budget. You know, here's an example. The budget is spending $450,000 approximately on the PMC roof, okay? So next year we won't have that expense. Now I know we'll have to spend it on something else, but let's take some of that money and slide it over into senior and youth programming, you know? Maybe $10,000, $20,000 each, and develop programming that way, you know.
Yeah.
But manage the budget, and I'm still committed to the roads, as we'll talk about in a minute, but find new revenue sources. And, you know, other people mentioned working with Ranch and Valley, but, you know, the tax increase last year, you know, they're to the rate of inflation, but when I go to houses, they say, you know, like, let's not have a tax increase, let's just manage the budget. And we are going the assessment with the development we're getting. And I'm saying in here under housing, under economic development, you know, create affordable housing for people who want to downsize, you know, more of those type of homes, work with developers.
Yes.
See if we can get the housing development, the Gulfview Estates off of behind the industrial park, behind the hotel over there, the Holiday Inn. See if we can work with that developer to get that kickstarted again, and the developers on the Brundage site behind across the Murphy Fort there. So let's work with them and let's grow the tax base. And so that's what I'm saying about taxes, and I'm sure it can be done. I know there's increases here and there, but hold the line on the taxes and build up the revenue from the tax assessment.
I like that. Hold the line. That makes me think of a battlefield. Hold the line.
That's like the song, eh?
Yeah.
Hold the line. Da, da, da. Was that Toto or I forget who that was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Roads and infrastructure. The city have a strategic plan, and they're working on it. So develop a long-range prioritization plan for roads, 5-year plan. What roads are we going to do when, and you know, where's the funding for it? Where's it going to come from? The pool. So I was at the council meeting last night, and nice presentation from the YMCA area director. YMCA is a great organization. They have a wonderful facility in Peterborough and also in Belleville. So the city council approved a partnership with the YMCA for RFP, request for proposal, to design it, and then the council will have the final say if they like the newspaper ad, the request for proposal. Then they want to hire a consulting firm to do a survey, right? This will cost between $20,000 and $30,000. The one in Belleville, I think, or Quinte West, was $34,000. Was said yesterday by the person from the Y. So the survey is required to get any provincial funding. You know, you can't just go on SurveyMonkey and say, well, what do you think of this or that? You know, you have to have results, right? So you need a survey. So that's one start. But once we have the survey and we know what people want, I've been following what Kapuskasing did, and I'm calling for 3 design choices. You know, A, B, and C. So your Cadillac, your Chevy, and your Skoda, and have public input on the actual design. The survey is great, but give people, hire an architectural firm and design 3 choices, 3 plans that they can come to a town hall meeting. They can visit a website and put their input. They can come to City Hall and look at it and leave their notes, leave their comments. But the town hall meeting is important, and community input, and pick the best design, build, value for the dollar. You know, are we going to have an Olympic-sized pool with a therapeutic pool? Are we going to have an Olympic-sized pool with a therapeutic pool and a kiddies pool? You know, so what are we going to have? Some people are talking a big recreation complex, like a recreation hub. That's what Elliott Lake is doing. And they're spending, theirs is $40 million. But, you know, we have to be cognizant of what we have. So we have the PMC that was built in 1951, which has been well kept and upgraded over the years. So that's going to last for another 15 years or 20, like, hopefully, you know. And then we have PIM-ICE 2, which is used all the time. So it would be nice to build a facility if that's what the people want, you know. But do they want the city to go and borrow $10 million for that? You know, I don't think it's economically prudent, right? So it's all about timing, right? So the pool has to be built, and the person from the Y said it'd be the ideal situation would be a third from the federal government, a third from the province, and a third from the community. And hopefully Ranch and Valley and other communities will help, you know, contribute. And that's what the survey is for too, the study. And you know, if it's worked right, we can use some of our reserve money, because we have, 17 million in reserves, but half of that is dedicated to reserve. You can't spend that with the pollution control and the water plant and that. But take some money from reserves, do some fundraising, and it might not, if we have to venture, it'll be a very low payment, So that could be a line item in the budget. So it depends, but when is the last time Pembroke got a multi-million dollar grant for recreation? I can't remember when that occurred, and I've been following.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we've never had, there's never been a major project like this before, So we've always had the PMC, but we've been upgrading that ourselves. And I know we've gotten some money for Pembroke too through Ontario grants and that, but I'm talking like a $5 million investment, $7 million from the province or the federal government, right? So hopefully, I know our local MPP and Cheryl Galland, I know they'll go to bat for us, very diligent in what they do. And it's a community effort. So the first part is the survey, and then, we have the pool, but we don't want to do it on the back of the taxpayer, right? So it has to be planned accordingly. But it can be done, and it will be done, because when you talk about economic development here, I'm saying make our city a destination, heart of the valley for business and visitors. So, like the downtown is an example, and industry. So someone posted a question on Facebook. I think it was in your group. I don't know. They said, well, what about, getting a major industry to come? Okay. Or businesses. And you have to create a culture of a welcoming culture of community it's a big package, right? So you're creating a culture of welcoming community, and you're doing that by doing little things that don't cost a lot of money. One of the things is, well, the pool costs a lot of money, but you do need a pool. If any professional is going to come, like doctors, right? They want to start up the physician recruitment committee again, which is great. They want to know what facilities you have. Well, we have a brand new pool, okay, and so we have a recreation complex with a pool and a gymnasium. Okay, that's good. My kids can use the pool, so that's what people want, right? What's your downtown like? Well, some people told me that we should have Wi-Fi downtown and at the marina. You go to every major city, community, they have Wi-Fi. So I'm saying gradually introduce Wi-Fi to the downtown core.
That's a good thing, definitely.
And I'm also advocating for gradually removing parking meters. For years we've heard about, I remember selling a Maytag washer at my dad's store, and the customer said, "Oh, I got to put 25 cents in my meter. I'm going to get a ticket." And how frustrating, So the revenue brings in about 50,000. That's why I say gradually. But if you go to Renfrew, no parking. Renfrew have a beautiful downtown.
Yes, that's true.
Our downtown will be like theirs, and it's probably like that now. I think our downtown is great, but working, talking to people, remove the parking meters. Some people are worried that people will park there all day. Well, the bylaw enforcement officer will go around, give them a warning ticket, no fine, give them a warning ticket, and then after that, give them a fine, right? You get a couple fines, they won't park there. But I have faith in people. I have true faith in people that if we gradually remove the parking meters downtown, advertise it properly, I think it'll make a world of difference.
What's your take on the traffic downtown? Because it's very congested,
it's
with
very
pedestrians, parking, and 2-lane road. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they did that in the late 70s, I believe. They did these wide sidewalks, right?
Yeah.
So it's good for the cafes, right? So it's a balancing act, right? Some people want, we'd have to really look at it. Some people want one-way traffic going up this way and one way down the other. But does that benefit the business owner, who's relying on the traffic, It is congested, but my wife and I have been noticing, having breakfast at Janet and Carrie's place there in the summer, these big trucks going by. And the trucks, as far as I can remember, are supposed to use the truck route, which is Nelson Street, right? That's what that's what it's supposed to be. So I think if we can get these trucks off the main street and enforce them going the other way, they shouldn't be going through the main street. But I'm talking tractor trailers going through the main drag.
Yeah.
You know, they're supposed to go at McDonald's, Howard Street, and go all the way down and come up at the PMC there at the Hydro.
Yeah, and you get a lot of the big trucks parking outside Pizza.
Yeah, I know, Pizza, yes.
And that's a huge hazard.
I was reading that comment, and Richard Barber, who owns a computer shop beside the Armories, he had a good point. A lot of people did. When we had my dad's store, we'd get these big transports in.
Oh, I bet, eh?
Oh, yeah. And so I would, you know, when you work in the shop, you do all the jobs, right? You don't just sit there and sell all day. You're doing everything, right? So we used to have a warehouse behind the city hall at those apartments, but we also unloaded stuff on the side of the road. So you'd have to load up in front of the Armories. You back your half ton up really quick, right? So that's what I think the Pizza could do. Unless there's some reason why he's parking in the front, you know.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of these situations can be worked out if you just talk to people, you know.
For sure.
It's all about relationships. And you talk to these people and you say, can we work out a solution here? And hopefully, you know, it'll come to a nice ending, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of talking to people and talking things out, you have your number 5 here is community safety, reducing
community safety.
That's a big one here. A lot of folks have been talking about their safety downtown, although it's beautified and looking better and better and more sophisticated. There are still folks worried about their safety.
They're worried about their safety. And, you know, people talk to me about drugs in the community, you know, and that's a problem, I think. Well, I know it's a problem. People have told me. I've seen different things going on, and you know, it's a problem all over Canada, right? Small town Ontario. Mm-hmm. And so there's ways we can work with that. And the Bill 175 is the new Safer Ontario Act. The former government brought it in, and it's mandating all communities develop a community safety and well-being plan. And Halton Hills just came out with theirs. And basically what that is, without getting too technical and long, it's a framework, it's a plan that involves on your committee and in your organization, you have to have a member of all stakeholders in the community. So you have to have a member for the education sector, from City Hall, from the police enforcement, from social services like Phoenix Center, Boys and Girls Club. You have to get together and you have to form a proactive approach to social issues and crime prevention. And you have to have a plan. So it brings everyone together and says, well, how are you going to promote mental illness? How are we going to promote the awareness of that and combat that proactively? And how are we going to combat opiates in that? Okay? So it's proactive, and you come up with steps and programming to make people aware of what services are available. And you meet on a regular basis and you talk about the issues and you come up with a plan. And everybody's at the table, right? So you're not over here and over there, you're all doing it together. But it's mandated, and the council has to come up with a plan within a year of its new existence. So this is something I researched, and I've read it a few times, and it has to be done. Community Policing Committee with the OPP. So Laurentian Valley have one. They meet 6 times a year. And I know we have a police services board, but Community Policing Committee of volunteers from the community and a member of the city council and a representative from the police force that meet and discuss issues and try and get some programming. Now I know neighborhood watch has been tried before.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That's come up a few times.
Yeah, I think, I want to try that again if we can get that going, but Petawawa have an e-cop online prevention program. So
there's an idea.
That's Cindy Mills started that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really great.
They got a grant.
From
the government, I read.
Awesome.
And they got this database, and you go on and you log in and you report what's going on in your neighborhood. So that's something there also. But I'd like to try the neighborhood watch, and if not, or the e-cop, and then community policing office downtown. We had one before, and I think that would be a great presence if we could work with the OPP and try and get it back downtown.
Definitely.
And you know, even if we, you know, where the grind of their office, their outreach program.
I was gonna say.
Even if we shared it with them.
I think
'Cause
it's about collaborating now.
Yeah.
And you need to.
Because I mentioned
build
it. I mentioned it to Dave.
Okay.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave is one of the
Studham.
admins. Yeah.
So I had a coffee with him for an hour and a half a month ago, and he told me all about the grind. You know, instead of going door to door, I talked to him, right? So I said, well, what if we shared the office? And we're just talking, right? I said, well, what if community police would share an office with you, lower your costs? He said, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
you know, it's all about collaboration. So those are some of the things we can do, and
I like that.
to help with the crime, and it's a start. And you know, I've always said, if you don't try, you never know, right? So I have in here transit, you know, public transit, research options for a public transit system, including government grants. So I know they applied for a grant. I contacted the government and they said there's some, and I looked at the program, unless it's changed, but federal government have grants for green eco buses, right? So try and, people have come to me and say, I'm really glad that you put in your platform public transit, you know. Like we have taxis, right? And hats off to the taxis, do a great job. But some people can't afford taxis all the time.
That's my
you know?
thoughts too.
So
yeah.
there's a need for the transit. Handy Bus does an exceptional job. The Handy Bus, fully support the Handy Bus. We have Carrefour that drive people to Ottawa. I know many people use the service, but you know, let's try even a scaled down transit system. You know, and you know, if we can apply for another grant with Merchant Valley, that's great. It'll lower our costs. And the reason why we didn't get a grant last time, I was told, was because we had Merchant Valley and Pembroke. Had we had a third partner, we would have got the grant. That's what
Really?
I was. Yeah. So we
Petawawa,
probably Petawawa. Well, yeah, it would have been Petawawa. They went on their own, right? And that's their prerogative. So you know, we can try something again, and you know, there's Uber and Lyft, but I don't support Uber and Lyft because they don't pay taxes like the cab companies do. You know, they don't pay the taxi, the insurance, the extra insurance, and the upkeep of the car. You know, I know they might have that in some cities, but I want a homemade solution for Pembroke. You know, now one gentleman came to me with the idea. I didn't put it in here, but he thought of developing a volunteer driving program for people. You know,
That'd be good.
Yeah, it would be good. You have to get a database of people who can drive, but the only thing is you got to increase your insurance, right, on your car.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
that's something you can look at. You know, it might work. Volunteer drivers from here to there. But I think the best solution is to try and get a transit system and see, you know, Pembroke has changed. Pembroke has changed the last 5 years. You know, we've seen tremendous growth downtown, and I commend the developers who are taking advantage of the grants, you know, and I commend the business people, like the canning company. You know, I bought some pickled asparagus there, and you know, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and all those stores, you know, and it's great, and we need more stores like that. Plus our other stores, you know, Town and Country, Goldstream Jewelers, and we can only get better, right? But we also have the Pembroke Mall that we have to think of and support them too. You know, we're talking about downtown. I know it's a focus on the waterfront, but we need to. And I put that in the platform. You know, business retention. You know, dedicated city website for investment opportunities. So we got to work keeping businesses here and helping them grow too, you know.
Well, and expanding Pembroke. It's not just about the downtown core like we talked about earlier. It's about
the new gym at the mall is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
been
for
a
sure.
really big
business,
hit.
more competition, and more money coming into the.
That's right, and you know, I talked about, you know, when they talked about building a recreational facility, you know, I wouldn't want to see a full-blown fitness center in there because that competes with.
It's not needed.
That competes with local business.
We have phase one.
Yeah.
Fitness and tanning. They're downtown.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah,
have multiple other fitness.
That's right.
Coaching.
That's right.
And then we have the new Planet Fitness for those intermediate.
And there's some other high intensity gyms.
There are.
Yeah.
I was
CrossFit.
I was gonna join one, but I think I'll stick with the low level program after the election.
Yoga studios as well downtown.
Yes.
So we need to support these local.
That's
maybe you're right. Maybe
that's exactly, you know. And competition is good, but not government should not be in direct competition with local business. You know, my father. I'll tell you a little story. My father was on Canada AM. I was at university in 1984 at Bishops, and Consumers Distributing. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They were a catalog business, and they were going to sell out of the post office. And he had nothing against the post offices, but they were going to set up shop in the post office, and they weren't going to be paying any taxes or anything, you know. And he was paying taxes, so he sold stamps at a reduced price and put a big sign in the window and sold stamps.
Really?
Yeah, just to protest.
Nice.
So it ended up that they left. They didn't do the project. But his point was, you know, I'm paying taxes, and you're going to open up a consumer distributor at the post office, and they're not paying taxes. You know, that's the point. So I mean, government should be. My theory, my view on government is you're here to support the people, social programs, but you're a referee in the economy. You're not directed competition with business. Unless it's for utilities like the local hydro, that's important. I don't believe in selling off the hydro. I wasn't happy when they sold 40% of Ontario Hydro. You know, the Pembroke Ottawa River Power Corporation and the Ottawa River Energy Solutions are a gem, and they're at. That's why the city.
Too.
That's why the city is in such good financial position because of the stuff they do. That's one of the reasons.
Definitely.
They add to the balance sheet close to 500,000 dividends. So, you know, I don't want to see a fitness center in the complex. You know,
that does make sense.
Yeah, that's a different perspective on it. You know, because a lot of people are very pro recreation. I'm very unbiased. I'm neither here nor there, but it's good to hear your perspectives too because I've heard a lot of the opposite. But you're right. You're absolutely right. It would take away from the local business here.
Well, it would. You know,
it would be the same effect that the mall had.
The upgraded pool would be good, and maybe like a rock climbing wall or something.
A hot tub would be
well,
nice.
But a weight room. We have enough weight rooms.
Yeah, the pool. Yeah. The Kidswood pool has. You know, they had some weights. Okay, like that's okay. But I'm talking a full-fledged gym, you know. Like we got to be like this pool thing, you know, it's a tax. If you're going to use taxpayers' money, it has to be well thought out. And you need community input into 3 choices, and you got to really think it out, right? And you really got to plan where you're going to build it, you know. I wrote a letter to the city council when I was in Bermuda. I wrote a letter to them, and I said, you need a master plan for Kinsman Park. You know, we need to know where the pools. This is when they're thinking about spending money in the Sens rink, right? I said, don't build a concrete slab and go fundraising for a Sens rink until you fundraise for the pool, and don't spend $40,000 on the Sens rink until you know where the pool's going to go. You know, and we ended up we didn't even need the Sens rink right now because we have this fundraising committee and we already have a sports court there. I don't want to get off topic, but I'm just saying, you know, you got to plan, so we don't even know where the pool's going to go. So the thing is the survey, and then we get the design choices, and what's this design going to cost? What's that? You know, so then we go from there. Yeah. So, but I wanted to talk about the couple of the programs here that I you know, this platform was, as I mentioned, was thought out by not just me but other people, right? Yeah, and I met with some members of the seniors community. And they came up with the idea that we develop a seniors advisory council. And then I thought of a family/youth advisory council. So these councils would be volunteer groups of, you know, 10 people or so from all demographics of the town, you know, like from different income levels, different professions.
That's a good opportunity.
Different people that work at home, you know, raising children. So let's talk about the seniors for a minute. So Seniors Advisory Council would meet on a regular basis and advise the Parks and Recreation and City Council and on innovative programming, and work with the work with the library and the seniors drop-in center, so there's no overlap on some programming, right? Mm-hmm. And some ideas they had were monthly or bi-monthly concerts at Festival Hall, right? Free for seniors.
Yes.
Nice.
So we would have some money, a pool of money. The city have an $80,000 entertainment fund that they spent some of it on the concerts that came to town, like the fundraiser with the Robbie Dean Center, which was a great cause. So we have some money set aside in the budget, and monthly or bi-monthly concerts for seniors. And we could hire. I was talking to Louis Schreier at the mall one night during fiddling weekend. Louis Schreier, you've heard of him from Chapeau. He's a teacher, 3-time or 4-time Canadian Grandmaster fiddling champion.
Oh, really?
Okay, has 2 daughters, and he performed a couple times in Wayne Rodstad Christmas in the Valley show that I brought to Pembroke with my wife, and Wayne's coming back actually November 30th. He's coming with my good friend Greg Lohman, and I'm helping them out promoting it and that. So you get your tickets at festivalhall.ca. Anyways, little plug there, right?
Yeah.
So
Always.
I talked to Louis and I said, you could put together a Christmas show of some step dancers, some fiddlers, and we would pay him a fee, and he put together a children's package. It would be on a Saturday at Festival Hall, and the seniors would come, and hopefully we could hire a bus, and we could go to the different homes and bus them to the Festival Hall and bus them back, and it'd be free admission, and it'd be a great thing, right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful idea.
Great idea.
Wasn't my idea, it was this other gentleman's idea, Bill Halkett, who's an advocate in town. And another idea would be like a pianist to do a recital, or something like that. So you have the Seniors Advisory Council, but as you're doing that, you develop a seniors database. And you do that so that you can communicate more effectively with seniors. Who is in their home by themselves? How do we communicate with them? Not everybody uses the internet, so send them a monthly newsletter, what's going on in the town, senior programming, developed by the Seniors Advisory Council or Parks and Rec or the drop-in center, so we can find out what's going on, right? Communicate this monthly concert to them. And so somebody said, well, how are you going to develop a database? Well, you started the churches. You started the churches, you have a sign-up sheet, It's all about community, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost any money, and you develop a database. And I know that Parks and Rec staff, and you work with Parks and Rec staff, I know they only have one programmer, as far as Elijah, doing a great job. If you have to hire somebody extra, well, then you hire them. The city hired a dedicated economic development officer.
Well, to get things done, that's what you got.
That's how you get things done. We have a $29 million budget, and if you got to spend the money on the people, we spend money on infrastructure, but we also, I know we're spending money on the people, but I want to
you need to spend money to make money.
Yeah, allocate some funds for this programming. So we develop a database and we find out what's going, where they are, and then you have the Seniors Advisory Council, then you can do your programming. So the Youth Advisory Council, youth/family. So we have an advisory council of youth. So I'm talking youth, like teenagers, like not the student council. Like the student council president is good, but just the average skateboarder down there that say, okay, I'll come to a meeting. I'll tell you what my friends are thinking. From different areas of the town, families from different areas, different demographic. So this youth council meets, volunteer group, have the Boys and Girls Club involved. They do great community work.
Yes. And
meet on a regular basis and come up, well, what do you need? What can we do for you? And what programming would you like? So now some of this programming would be user paid. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not all going to be free, right? But here's an example. I spoke to one mother and I said, well, what do the kids want? Well, they want to go fishing. So maybe we could get some fishing rods and work with local service clubs or angler groups and take them out fishing in the boat.
That would be a nice idea.
From the marina,
Yeah.
And see up to the Pembroke, up to the lighthouse up there, get some pickerel or Mary and I went to the bass tournament that the Civitan Club sponsored.
Oh, yes.
And they had a great turnout. They're gonna have another one double the size next year.
Nice.
And so maybe work with that group, you know, hopefully the insurance would work out, but a program like that, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing I was thinking was reaching out and getting a database of, and we could do this with the college and the senior center and the library, but get a database of local naturalists, sports people and artists, and say to them, well, if we put together a course, like a user pay course, and we had enough students, sort of like the Algonquin Night School, would you run a course, so say a pottery course, you know, or a surfboarding course, you know, with the paddle, that kind of thing, or a cooking class or something, or, you know, these adult courses and children courses. So develop the recreation guide, have these 1 day, 2 day courses, you know, and see if we can get a database of people to have that. I put in here and this is only for discussion purposes. The library is running out of space for the programming. And I know people have talked about building a recreation complex with a library. That's what Petawawa have. Yes. And that's great, but you know, can we afford that right now? So I'm thinking, I'm saying look into it. I'm not saying do it, you know, 100%. If it's feasible to take over the fire hall and turn it into a community center and share it, the library can use, it'd be shared by the library, seniors group and the family youth group. And you can have workshops in there, and the library could use it for their extension activities, for their makerspace, because you got the high ceilings, you got the big tables. And we're doing a makerspace. Say I come and do a course on 3D printing. You know, I bring in a couple of 3D printers, which I'm going to be doing down the road, and the kids are designing something and they're learning about 3D printing. You need some space, right? Yeah. So that'd be a perfect location right close to the library.
Where's the fire department gonna go?
Well, the fire department's in the new hall.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'm just kidding. Hey, there could be viewers out there too that don't know, but
the new, you know, the fire hall now.
Yeah.
Beside the library.
Yes.
Okay, well that's going to be moved, right? As of October.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, you knew that. You know they're building a new fire hall.
She's just.
They're moving on October. In my notes here from last night.
She's trying to keep up with a million things.
I know. Yeah, they're moving October.
Awesome.
15th.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean about the research.
Yeah, 15th. So we see if we can. And I spoke to a city official about it, and he said, well, you know, everything has a cost, right? Well, yeah, things have a cost. So we look at it, see if it's feasible in the budget. You know the pop-up program that the city ran in the summer down at the
Shamrock. The kids market.
So I went to that a few times. That's a great thing, you know. So we do that in the wintertime, but do it at the hall. You got the big garage doors, you got the ceiling, you know. So you can do that too. And I know the seniors have asked about the fire hall, and they need more space. So it's all about, you know, my mother-in-law has this saying, Marie Mercer, beautiful woman, heart of gold. She says, sharing is caring. Yeah. You know, sharing is caring. So we share in Pembroke, you know. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about us. So we share things, you know. So that's what we do with, that's why I was talking about the fire hall. So I just wanted to talk about the seniors programming. And I want to mention active living. So active living master plan is a 10-year plan about culture, recreation, art, and facilities. Do we have the facilities and the programs where will we be in 10 years? So this is a long range plan, right? So it's sort of like a recreation plan, but it's a bit more and encompasses everything. So that's how I'd like to get started. The railway trail, the railway bed.
There's a good topic.
Yes, very hot topic. So, you know, active living is a major component now, and I've said, you know, we want to build a community for everyone to work, play, to work, learn, and play and live, right? So we have an opportune time here. If we can find Pembroke never joined the Algonquin Trail, right? If we want to join the Algonquin Trail, I contacted the person who takes care of it for the county, and I was communicating with him. If we want to join that, we have to spruce up our trail and join that, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, but it's a multi-use trail. So I know it's a controversial topic, and you know, I've thought about it a long time, and it's an opportune time for Pembroke to develop a nature trail from where and in conjunction with the Laurentian Valley, right, where it begins down at in East End, and then all the way through Pembroke, and then up across past Membership Lodge, right over there.
Yeah.
So the thing about the motorized traffic, you know, the four-wheelers and the skidoos, think about the four-wheelers and the bikes, you know, it's great they have a trail, they can share the multi-use trail, but imagine being at the marina on a summer night in July and a motorbike goes whizzing by.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's just not going to work out.
No.
You know, then you have those homeowners down there who were told about the plan, but they weren't asked for their opinion. So when you go to, say you wanted to open a hairdressing shop, you'd have a planning meeting if it was in a residential zone, right? And the neighbors would come. Or say you want to build an apartment building. You have a planning and zoning meeting at City Hall, and you have so many weeks to put in a letter, and you show up at the meeting. Well, these homeowners were just told about it, right? We want to put a trail through the back of your yard. And I know the railway went through there, but only went through so many times, and they lowered their noise level. So I don't think it'll work with mechanized traffic through that trail with these homes so close to the road. You know, they have property rights too, right?
Yes, exactly.
And they live in Pembroke and Laurentian Valley, and you know, some people won't agree with me, and I realize that, but you know, you can't please everybody. It's a balancing act, right?
So true. Yeah.
So I'm in favor of a nature trail through Pembroke for you know, cyclists and
like
walkers.
The one at the marina.
Yeah, like the one at the marina.
Yeah.
And we can join that one with the one at the marina, you see.
Yes.
That's what we can do. And it's all about active living. There was a plan to join the trail down to Pansy Patch Park. So we can still, the Kiwanis Trail down to Pansy Patch Park. So we can still do that. So we can have this trail from Riverside Park all the way to, you can go to Pansy Patch Park, or you can go all the way down to Laurentian Valley, right there. The four-wheelers and that, there's a CN line they can join the Algonquin Trail that goes around Pembroke. So that's possible too. So they can do that, you know.
Alternatives.
In the wintertime, the snowmobilers can come down to Muskrat and join the businesses there.
That would be
so
popular.
that they do that also, right? So I talked about creating a destination point, right? So back in the 90s, there was a fishing derby on the ice, and it was run by Dave Garrow, and I think Schofield was his last name. Great businessman, and they had this fishing derby on the ice, and it was a village. It was ice fish huts, and they had a tag fish, and Star 96 got involved, and there was a prize, and just phenomenal to see, right? People came from all over for this fishing derby, and it was part of the Winter Carnival, so I'd like to see that resurrected, and they say it stopped for insurance purposes or some reason, but I want to look into that again, and encourage, you know, if private business comes to the city with a proposal, and they say, we want to do drag racing on the ice, or we want to have this ice fishing derby, and if they're going to make some money off it, but the city's going to benefit too, if the city can make some money or just benefit from tourism, and there's no liability in the city, well, that's great. That's the kind of investment you want to encourage, right?
Yes.
It's all about partnerships, government, private enterprise, partnering for tourism, you know?
Yes.
That's what you want. So that leads to my thing about the Pembroke Fair. So I brought this Pembroke Fair idea to the table, and promoted all these concerts, and one of my good friends, Gerd Lohman, has been chairman of the Richmond Fair for years. He's not anymore. Now he's on the board of directors of the Canadian Fair Association. So we're the only rural community without a fair, and I always wondered why. So it came back to
agricultural, you mean?
agricultural fair.
Oh yes.
Now,
I like this.
I'm not talking cows and pigs right now. Like we'll talk about that later.
Can we start with horses?
Yeah, horses are beautiful.
Pony ride.
Yeah, pony ride. So when you go to these fairs, except for Renfrew, but the Carp Fair and the Richmond Fair, they use their local arena for their concerts, and they do that because they have the facility. But when you have it in a local arena, you save money on logistics, you save money on fencing, security, and you don't have to worry about the weather, and you know it's going to be there exactly. So what I'm thinking about, what I'm proposing is, I've got a lot of support for it, is that we have a midway at the marina, and we had one earlier, like years ago at the marina, beautiful at night. We get a good midway, one of the well-known ones. I know it's all about timing, you have to book it
definitely.
In advance. And we get a midway at the marina with their food stands and all that. And at the amphitheater, we have local entertainment and some other children's activities. So that would take care of the marina, right? That's the waterfront. That's a hot spot there. So you have the midway. Then you have the PMC. You have your concert at night, right? Your local headliners and your national touring artists. And then you have your demolition derby at Riverside. You know where the midway was in July? As soon as you go into the right. So I've already scouted it out. And you have your demolition derby there. And we can take I've already talked to one of the city officials. We can take the bleachers from the ball diamond and you can drag them over with the tractor and use that as your grandstand. Okay, so that's a possibility. And you can have other activities at Riverside Park too, right? I'm just talking about like the demolition derby. Helicopter rides, whatever your imagination, Einstein said imagination is more powerful than knowledge, right?
Yes.
Definitely.
And this would be a volunteer committee. It takes a lot of work, but if you don't try, you don't know. And people ask me about the cost. Well, the midway would be paid by the user. The concert would be paid by the concert ticket. And the demolition derby, I've already talked to some people that do the one in Beachburg, and they tell me it pays for itself by entry fees. And they've already volunteered to run it. So, once you get it set up, you start small, right? You start small and you grow from there. So, and we can add on other activities to it, to the fair. Corey Nagora was talking, I had nice coffee with Corey Nagora a few weeks ago, and, there's a guy that, cares about the community, and he said, well, what about adding a lager fest to this fair?
Yes.
And I said, sure. I said, we're open to all ideas. It's not what I want. It's what we want. What is best for the community? What is going to be the most economical? But you start somewhere, right?
Yes.
And so anything's possible. But from a cost point of view, the fair would be hopefully self-sufficient by user pay, right? And we start small and we go from there. And there's lots of support for fairs, lots of advice we can use.
Definitely.
But if you
lots of local businesses that would want to get in on
sponsoring, and get some action going in Pembroke in the summertime again. I know we have the Paddle Fest, and that's great. We went to that. We have yoga in the park. We have the concerts at night. The volunteers that go down to the marina. So but we're doing great, but we can do even better.
Absolutely, lots of room for growth.
Building the community for everyone, and I commend all the volunteers in Pembroke, all the stuff you do. Mary and I are very, very glad to be back, and it's a wonderful community. People like yourselves are here, and people have moved to Pembroke. I've met them door to door. But they talk about the taxes, the roads, and the roads are being fixed up.
Yes.
And we still have to focus on the roads and fix them. And so all these things encompassing. So I wanted to mention the programming of the seniors and the youth and public transit, and I think I covered everything.
Yeah.
Streaming council meetings over the internet. Now I went down to Kojiko Community, Your TV last Thursday night. They had an open house, and they do great work. They do, you know, phenomenal work.
Trevor Riley is one of the main guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to Trevor.
And Mike Tharby.
Yeah, Mike.
And Tiana and Chloe. Chloe was there too. She's a co-op student from Bel-Air School. So I talked to them about streaming the council meetings, and because they're doing service and they're streaming the council meetings live on Kojiko, I asked them about putting it on the internet, and understandably they can't do that because it's their product, right?
Right.
Their bosses aren't going to let them people are paying a subscription to Kojiko, and then you go and put it on the internet. So for Pembroke Council to do it, you'd have to have a mixer, better mic system. You'd have to, the fiber is already coming in there from the Ottawa River Power Corporation. So you'd have to buy some equipment, you have to buy the right camera, and you'd have to have people running it. You know, or you could just do like this, but you'd want people running it, right? You probably want two cameras.
Yeah, this would.
So it's possible, but we're gonna have to work on it, and we can get some volunteers to run the cameras. You know, once it's set up, but it'll take an investment of I think under $500 to get that started and stream it online also. You know, so that's good. You know, you're talking about accountability and transparency, right?
Definitely.
So that's what people are talking about. You know, they're talking about the fire hall. Is it under budget? Is it over budget? Talking about the dam. You know, the dam's a hot topic.
Yes.
You want to talk about the dam?
I don't know if we should get into that.
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
It is very controversial.
I think we've really. I think we've had a really.
But I do want to hear his take on it, because he's actually willing to spend a little bit of money, and there's alternatives. Like, it was a very common spot for many of us. There was a little community there.
Did you fish down there?
All the time.
Yeah. But you?
I've never fished.
Are you a fisherman?
I'm not a fisherman.
My husband and I.
I'm like an outcast here in the valley. I'm just hanging in there.
You're hanging in?
I'm trying to blend in.
You're here
I'm wearing plaids.
You're here for the long. Love the plaid. You're here for the long haul.
I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, fits right in.
But there's a lot of sentimental meaning down there.
So my take on my vision for the dam is I support the dam as long as it can be saved economically. You know.
Yes.
Now I know Andrew Plummer came up with I was at the meeting last night, and I was taking notes here, and he came up with a proposal. He got a quote for $35,000, 10% of the original, 300. I wrote it down here, $354,000. He came up with a quote for $34,000 from somebody, and then he said he has a plan to cut the debris so it'll flow naturally down the river, right? So that sounds good, but I want to see the quote, and I want to know is the engineering study, is the dam structurally safe, and I'd want to know about what does the quote entail, and I want to get a second opinion on the quote, like is this going to pass the safety standards for insurance purposes?
Yeah.
Because the reason the city council voted to get rid of the dam, but was because of the liability, right? Somebody falling through. And when you get into big liability with the city, you know, you could be talking millions of dollars, right?
And I get that.
And
it's just there's no reported incidents.
I realize that. And I understand where people are coming from.
It's more safe than climbing down the bank of...
What's that?
It's more safe than climbing down the bank of the river.
Yeah, that's right.
Which we've had to do, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's all about meeting the needs of the people that want to fish off the dam with their families. Because I'm all about family, I'm all about community, and I drive by there, and my wife said to me, my wife's got a great imagination, very creative, very artistic. She said, well, what about some lights on that dam? Some Christmas lights,
Yeah.
And, stuff like that, right? And planting some flowers and cleaning up the side of the river, and maybe make some spots where people could fish off of, like some platforms,
It would draw more people to that area because we have that beautiful fountain down there.
Yeah, that's right.
And now that they've shut down the dam, nobody goes down there
That's
anymore.
right, I know. So we have to clean up that area.
Yeah.
So the dam can be saved if it meets engineering structural standards. If the insurance company says yes, this meets our requirements, this will do, and if the burden is not too much on the tax dollar. So I'd have to see this quote for 34 and what it entails, and I'd want to get a study engineering of the actual dam, and for tax dollar purposes, what is the cost going to be? There's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So, because 354,000 was a lot of money, right? That was too much. So these are the decisions that have to be made, and you got to make them in the best interest of the community, And I'm all for community, and I'm all for promoting business, promoting business, but not on the back of the environment, right? Eco-friendly, stuff like this. So the dam I support, as long as we can save it structurally, and the insurance company says yes, this will meet our standards, then we're okay. Now I know there's never been an accident there before. I know what you're saying.
Not reported anyway,
but,
and it's way more safe.
I don't have all the information. I'm not privy to all the background information.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to comment about what was said before about insurance.
For sure.
But like I said, if it can be saved and if it meets all the insurance requirements and engineering sound, well, that's fine. But if it's too costly, then it has to be removed,
Well, and then at that point you can exercise alternatives, like if it needs to be removed, at least keep into consideration that area and maybe build an alternative, something where people can still have access to that area.
That's right.
Something other than climbing down the banks.
Yeah, that reminds me of another thing I mentioned, and it wasn't my idea. It was another gentleman's, and when you actually, Fred Jennings works for the city. A friend of mine, Fred Jennings. Mm-hmm. Hello, Fred. And great guy. He had the idea. I know it was his idea, or he was always involved in it, right? I spoke to him about creating a skating rink from City Hall down to Pansy Patch Park, right? Skating rink.
What a nice idea.
Yeah, light it up at night.
That'd be beautiful.
Have hockey tournaments there, ice pond. And then I also talked about pond hockey tournaments on the river, right? Have pond hockey tournament. They did it in Ottawa. A former resident put that together. Les Gagne. So these are destination points, right? So getting back to this rink idea, I said to Fred, well, we were talking. He said, yeah, a rink from Riverside Park to the dam, and then walk around. Have some kind of a bridge thing that go from City Hall down to the Pansy Patch Park, right? So that Lorenzo Valley did that with theirs in the bush, which is great. So we have this rink, and Fred already researched it and all this, get all the volunteers lined up, so that can be done.
Oh wow!
Have a rink from Riverside to the marina, right? Wow. And then phase 2 down towards the dam there. And then at City Hall, but the trouble with City Hall is getting equipment in there. That's the challenge. So
yeah, you need like a Zamboni.
Yeah, so the plow, a small plow, snowblower, and that. But if we had a rink from Pansy Patch Park all the way down to the marina, that'd be beautiful.
Oh, I would use it. I'm traveling.
And somebody, a private business person, can set up a hot chocolate stand.
Yeah, or a beaver tail stand.
Yeah. And the two lads that sell the hot dogs? What are their names? They have the hot dog stands. I forget their names.
Walkers?
They have a business. They go to different events and sell hot dogs. They can sell hot dogs down there.
Yeah,
this is how you get things going, right? Get things moving.
Absolutely.
We could have skating races, pond hockey. Just add to the Winter Carnival. Stuff like that.
Well, and you know what? We need to direct more attention to Pansy Patch, because my husband and I were down there the other day.
Yeah.
And it's like, the only thing I've seen it being used for is a backdrop for wedding photos, family photos, things like that. And it's such a beautiful area. It takes a lot of upkeep to keep it looking as beautiful as they do.
Yeah.
Planting all the flowers. But there's nothing going on down there. It's stagnant.
Yeah, well that's hats off to the Horticultural Society who do all that, and there's, beautiful beautiful park, and people come to Pembroke, they don't even know it's there.
No, it needs more attention.
Needs more attention, and there could be some activities around it.
And that rink would be a great idea.
Yeah, you know, we could have the rink up there, and if it's possible, you know. But even activities in the summertime, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody would put on something, you know. There was, there used to be day camps, Parks and Rec ran day camps at Kinsman Park and Riverside. I know the Boys and Girls Club run one out of Wesley Church, you know, but Petawawa have day camps, right? So day camps are something to look at for youth, like day camps, and go to Pansy Patch Park and, you know, work out of the clubhouse at the Kinsman Park and Riverside, you know. So, you know, talking about, that just brought up the idea of the youth and using the Pansy Patch Park, but also these day camps, right? Mm-hmm. And extending those programs again, getting those going. But yeah, Pansy Patch is a jewel, very beautiful, very beautiful park, and you know, we took our wedding photos there.
Yes, speaking of.
Yeah, many others too. When I did a Google search for the city of Pembroke one day.
Yes.
And everybody who's tagged their photos on Facebook to the city of Pembroke, most of those pictures are taken down there. Yeah, either like between that or the marina, but mostly Pansy Patch Park. It's like, hey.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Most of them are from there.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful spot, you know.
Yeah.
Pembroke has a lot of, you know, we have so much to offer people that want to come here, and as does Laurentian Valley and Petawawa.
Yes.
And, you know, just, you know, you talk about atomic energy, CNL and Base Petawawa, you know, many, up to 3,000 people working at CNL, and they're spending millions of dollars upgrading over the years. You know, a lot of those people, like, they live in Deep River, they live in Pembroke, they live in Petawawa. So you're talking about economy, right? So people drive on Pembroke streets, we drive on Laurentian Valley streets. You're talking about jobs. So what if someone gets a job at CNL, and they live in Petawawa or Laurentian Valley, well, you know, we want them to buy a home in Pembroke.
Yeah.
But if they don't, you know, they're going to shop at local businesses. They're going to come downtown.
Yes.
And they're going to spend their money, go to Town and Country, Menswear, Goldstream Jewelers, you know, go to the Gillian Goat, spend their money. So it's all about community, right?
Yeah.
So what's good for one area is also good for the other. You know, that's something we got to think about. And also, you know, working on projects together. I know Laurentian Valley didn't go in on the Boundary Road project, but hopefully they will next time. And we're all friends, right?
Yeah.
We're all friends, you know, and you know, in Chinese we say bongyo, you know, friend, you know. And so we're all community, and we all, what's good for the Upper Ottawa Valley is good for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
And what's good for Pembroke, you know, we want people to buy homes in Pembroke, but doing the little things, you know, downtown and creating that welcoming atmosphere, keeping our taxes in line, building our tax base, you know. It'd be great to offer people a tax decrease. You know, I would say that, but, you know, not right now, maybe later on, but I mean, you know, the taxes pay for all the services, right?
Well, exactly, yeah.
And I know our taxes are high, you know, in relation to other bigger centers. I realize that. So that's why I said, hold the line of taxes, find new revenue sources, build your tax base up, and go from there, you know. So things like that. And but things are looking great for Pembroke, and I have this platform, and I have a vision building a community for everyone, and it's not just about the platform, it's about the person, you know.
Absolutely.
And I believe I have the business knowledge, the marketing skills, the confidence, the integrity, and the experience to sit at the council table with like-minded people, sharing the vision of growing Pembroke and making sound economic and social conscious decisions for the people of Pembroke, you know. I think that's what people are looking for, you know.
Definitely.
It's, you know, I'm really campaigning hard, going to all the events, getting out there on Facebook, put together a good platform, going to as many doors as we can. Absolutely. And it's promoting yourself and your vision. And I'm hoping that on October 12th at 8 p.m., when the polls open online, that I respectfully request you consider voting for me Brian Abdallah, first name in the ballot.
Yes.
And then on October 27th, at the physical vote, we should talk about the voting for a minute, because a lot of people are asking questions,
Yes, definitely.
So
Let's cap it off with that. Then.
we'll cap it off with
that's a good
that.
point.
Yeah, we've been quite a while.
Oh, we're good. It's good information.
That's great.
But that's a good point to
Yeah.
cap it off.
So my mom lives, Joan Abdallah. She lives at another beautiful lady in my life. Marie Mercer, Joan Abdallah. Hats off to all the women in the world, and the men too.
Yes.
Yeah, but the women especially.
Strong women
for all they do. So Subble's Landing. My mom lives at Subble's Landing, and so the city staff are going to visit all the retirement homes, and they're going to have a polling booth there. And if you're a resident or you know somebody that hasn't got their election PIN code yet, they can get a form online or from City Hall. But I spoke to Terry Lapierre before the council meeting last night, and they will have forms with them. So they know that retirement homes are people coming in, people going out. So if John Doe or Jane Doe are not on the voting list, they go up to the city staff and they say, here's my proof, my bill that I paid to them. Here's proof that I live here at Subble's Landing. I want to get on the voters list. So they will fill out the form for you. You just sign it, take a couple of minutes, and then they will give you the PIN code and assist you in the voting. So you can do it the same day if you're in the retirement home. You don't have to run to City Hall and get the form. You can if you want, but they will do it the same day. So online voting starts October 12th, a week from Friday at 8 p.m. If you don't have your PIN code, if you didn't get it, you should call City Hall. If you go to pembroke.ca, there's a phone number. You can call City Hall and talk to them and see if you're on the voting list. If you're not on the voting list, you can download the form online from City Hall website, or you can go to City Hall and fill out the form. So online vote, that's what you do if you're not on the voting list. So you might know somebody that isn't, you can tell them this information. The other thing I want people to know is that on October 12th, 8 p.m., the online voting starts until the 22nd. And then the 22nd is for people who want to go physically to the Pembroke Legion and vote from 8 o'clock until 8 p.m., I think.
I think so.
I think so, something like that. Pembroke Legion. It's the only physical voting place in Pembroke. Back in the day when my dad was running for council and mayor, there was polls all over the place. You had polls at Holy Name Annex, St. Columba Kills Cathedral, Lourdes Church, and it was very exciting. The place where below most of the grocery store, you'd be at the Legion watching the place watching all the polls come in, right? And now when we show up at the Legion on the night of the election, you'll have that online big chunk, right? And then you'll have it'll be hardly pounding, and then you'll have the physical vote, right? So very exciting, if things have changed. So there is help out there. If you want, I'm going to post this information on my Facebook page, Brian Abdallah for Pembroke Council. I'll post the link to the City Hall, and I'll load it to the other sites. I put a thing in your group yesterday, the link.
Yes, I saw
okay,
that.
so that's important too, because not everybody has the internet, and not everybody wants to go on social media, and I respect that. So we have to get the message out there, So that's important too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Brian, for being so thorough, obviously hardworking, community-oriented, and I see by this interview that if you get voted into City Council, you'll be working hard to put Pembroke back on the map.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Really make it a desirable community for people to live in and to visit and spend their money.
Promote Pembroke.
It's great.
Looks like we did all the concerts, and building a community for everyone. That's our vision, and that's what we want to do.
Thank you.
And it takes time and help.
Clearly a strong platform, and I'm sure if anyone wants to get a hold of one of these for their own references, they can contact you.
Contact me. And I just want to say this was the ad in the Advertising News the last 2 weeks, half page. So I put a different ad in the Advertising News that's going out tomorrow that shows my community involvement. And this here, the platform will be in the Advertising News next Thursday, 2 days after the debate at Festival Hall. We should talk about that for a minute. And then this ad will be in the Eganville Leader, I believe tomorrow and one other time. So you can get it through the newspaper, you can get it if we go to your door. We're trying to reach everybody.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to mention is the we were talking about it just a minute ago. The debate. The debate, yeah.
Yes.
2 debates. The mayor's debate is the 11th of October, next Thursday, at Algonquin College. Paul Kelly and Mike LeMay have put their names forward, so that's going to be an exciting debate. Yeah. They're both good orators. Mm-hmm. I know them both. We thank them for running. And then the candidates debate is going to be at Festival Hall next Tuesday, starting at 6:30. That's the 9th of October. And it's put on by the Rotary Club of Pembroke, another good service club. And 6:30 sharp, 2-minute opening speeches by all the 20 candidates, and then question and answer for 40 minutes. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer questions. So if you use 2 minutes up on one question, that's it. You don't get another shot. And then there'll be a 10-minute break, and then there'll be another question and answer for 40 minutes, 2 minutes per candidate. There'll be a 1-minute closer in reverse alphabetical order. So hopefully we'll see a lot of people at Festival Hall, and they're going to stream all the questions together, and the Rotary Club put them into themes like economic development, community safety, and all the issues that are important to people, right? Taxes, you know. So that I want to thank all these people and these groups, like you, and all the service clubs for putting together these debates at Algonquin College, and that's why I was glad to do this interview because you know, it's all about getting the message across and providing information to people. Some people didn't know me, and hopefully now they know me better.
I know you better.
I
thought I knew you, but I knew you a lot better.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
That's what's so wonderful
Yeah,
about
thank you.
this.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's wonderful, and you got some great Valley Proud.
Yeah.
Oh, these people here,
Yeah.
Valley Proud.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, my wife Mary went into their store, and they're the ones that do the T-shirts, right?
They do the fabric.
Yeah, all the apparel.
Ottawa Valley Apparel.
Yeah.
That's Picket Fence Pembroke. And Ottawa Valley Apparel.
Yeah, and they do the Pembroke T-shirts.
Yeah.
So we're going to pick up a couple.
We could shout out to businesses all day, but I'm just going to throw this up here for anyone that wants to check out Brian's Facebook page. Thank you so much for coming in. Candace, stay positive.
Stay positive.
Stay positive. Thank you, and have a good evening and a great weekend. Thanksgiving, and let's be thankful.
Yes. God bless everyone.